I'm going to explain about pointer lock controls in Three.js, and I'm going to start. So we have this statement, the first statement over here. You can see it's import pointer lock from, and then that link. So this this imports a special control system from Three.js, and it locks the mouse cursor. It hides the cursor, and it uses mouse movements to rotate the camera, like for example in FPS shooters or Minecraft. And then the let camera scene renderer controls. These are the core Three.js components. As we've talked before, these are the like the for example, if we say scene, a scene has children like cameras and all that stuff. So these are the core components, and the camera, it acts as the player's eyes. The scene is the 3D world container. Everything added to the scene becomes visible. We have the renderer that draws the 3D world onto the browser using WebGL, and we have the controls handles the first person movement and mouse looking. So we also have here what you see here. These are the movement variables. So they store keyboard states, and for example, if you press W, move forward is equals to true. And then we move now down here. So we are going to move to the physical variables. So on the physical variables, these are 3D vectors. Mm, Physical variables. I've not commented on my code properly, so a physical variable. So here are the physical variables. So these physical variables, these are 3D vectors, and a vector stores X, Y, Z. Think of it as like the coordinates, X, Y, Z coordinates. So X is for sideways speed, Y is for jumping and falling speed, Z, Z is for forward speed. Then you have the direction, stores the intended movement direction based on keyboard input. We have these ones here. These are two major functions. The init builds the world, setups the scene, camera, controls lighting, flow, boxes, keyboard input, and animate. This is the game loop. It runs every frame, 60 frame rates per second. This is where movement happens, gravity happens, and rendering happens. So we have the camera setup. This is very obvious over here. Here is the camera setup. You can see new 3 perspective camera, and then the camera position. So this 75 is the field of view, and we have the aspect ratio, the near clipping plane and the far clipping plane. And then we have our scene setup. This creates the new 3D world. We have the background color, the background color, and then we have the fog, which is here. Scene fog, it makes the scene look foggy. Then we have atmospheric fog. That's the atmospheric fog. And then you have the lighting here as a variable light here. We can see it here as a variable. And then you have the pointer lock, our pointer lock control. So the pointer lock control, the pointer lock control attaches the FPS control to the camera. So the control.lock locks the mouse. Here it is. The control.lock locks the mouse and activates the first person mode. The unlock event is when escape is pressed and the mouse unlocks and the menu appears again. So keyboard input system, we have the for example, W is here, W is to move forward, true, uh, R, A is to move left, true. We have the jumping system. It add upwards velocity, and this is how jumping the when the positive y is equal, it will be upward movement, and negative y is will be downward movement. So prevent to prevent double jump, we use the can jump is equals to false to prevent the double jump. Here it is. This line prevents the double jump. So we have the ray caster collision detection. So this shoots an invisible ray downwards. It is used to detect whether the player is landing on something, and it's very common in games. So and then here it is the raycaster. Here it is. And then we go now to creating the floor. Let floor geometry 3 is equals to new 3. 3 is the framework 3 dot plane geometry. This create a large flat plane. Then rotate the plane. So floor geometry dot rotate x. This will this line over here, it will plane face forward by default, and this rotate horizontally. And then the terrain effect, random changes and vertexes, this create an even terrain instead of a perfectly flat ground. And a small procedural generation trick. Now creating the boxes that we are going to see when I run this code. Also, the flow has a new flow material with with vertex colors and flow geometry, and all these have been included in the flow. So here is where we add 500 cubes randomly. So they have been placed in random positions. Then we have the all this is going to be executed by the 3 WebGL renderer. This creates the graphics renderer and the anti-aliasing. and the smooth jagged edges. And then we are going to resize the handling somewhere around here. You see here is the renderer. Here we are going to resize the handling to adjust the camera and the renderer when browser sets the changes. And then the game loop function animate dot request animator frame animate. Here's the game loop, this one here. And then this loop runs forever, and it's the core of every real-time game, equivalent to Unity update or Unreal tick. And then we have the delta time, measures frame and used to for movement across slow PCs or fast PCs. And then we have the friction and gravity. And then we have the here is the friction and gravity, simulates gravity for conceptually gravity accelerates downwards over time. Then we have movement directions. Here, this one converts Boolean into movement values. For example, forward is equals to 1, backward is equals to -1. Then the normalized direction, prevent diagonal movement from becoming faster, extremely important detail. Without normalization, moving diagonally gives unfair speed boost. And then we have the applying movements. Here, these ones here. Move the player relative to where they are looking, not world coordinates. That's why pressing W moves where the camera faces. And then we have the falling controls. Oh, the this here is the falling here. It updates the player height. Then the floor collision. Here, here's the floor collision. It stops player from falling below ground and resets your Y position and jump ability. And then we have this draws the frame. This is the final step of every frame here. So this is just a sneak peek of this Three.js JavaScript code. I'm going to give a detailed analysis of this code while you continue learning Three.js. So I hope you're going to subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to render this code so that you can see what it produces.